Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts with breaking news.
Let's hear that breaking news right now. A scary scene for one Metro driver after this crash you see here. Take a look at your screen. This happened on 52nd and Center just before midnight. Now, according to police, the driver hit a curb, causing the car to flip over. Not only that, but snap nearby power poles in half. Thankfully, nobody was hurt here. That's amazing. OPD tells First Alert 6 they do not believe alcohol played a factor in the crash. Jared is going to share with us the effects, how that's affecting traffic in just a bit. First, we want to say good morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on First Alert 6 Streaming. Jared Lansford's here. Rusty is here. We've got hot weather to talk about, but the morning is beautiful.
Gorgeous out there.
It's gorgeous.
I love it. Open the windows and enjoy it while you can, because the air is going to get stifling here pretty quickly. So let's show you what it looks like out at the ballpark. We got our championship series set. No more baseball until Saturday now. So the ballpark will just sit there and look good. And temperatures right around 60 degrees. We've just jumped up to 64, a little bit of a southeast breeze at 6 miles per hour. Dew point, low 60s, manageable. We can handle that this time of year. And there's been some 50s on the map this morning. 57 in Bennington, 59 in Louisville. So lower elevations, a little bit cooler as we start off the day today. Bigger picture shows there's even 50s on the Iowa side as well, depending on where you cool off. We are seeing a little bit of fog in some spots, but that should be remedied pretty quickly. Don't forget, a 10 on the UV index today. So that is on the high side, the very high side. You want to make sure you're taking some breaks, finding some shade, especially 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. during those peak sunny hours. Sunscreen, reapply it, especially if you're heading to the pool, because today's one of the coolest days we'll have for a while. Still pretty prime time pool weather. You want to make sure you're taking precautions even outside today. Now, as we warm up through the day, 70s by 9, up into the 80s by lunch, low to mid 80s by noon. 3 o'clock, we're near 90 degrees, and then towards 5, 6, we'll warm up to about 92 for the high. So pretty standard summer stuff here. Nothing crazy. Overnight tonight, watch to the northeast. Small chance of a storm. It could be a little stronger for our viewers in west central Iowa, near and north of I-80. Probably the best bet for those on the Iowa side. Overnight into early on Friday. Now, I was hoping this could cut into the heat a little bit for tomorrow. Right now, all trends tend to just graze us with those. Take them east and move them out quickly, and there's nothing to get in the way of building in the heat for the day on Friday and all the way through the weekend now. 100 Friday, 102 Saturday, 100 on Sunday, 97 on Monday. First alert to these 4 very hot days here with the breezy and windy conditions. Heat index values are going to be up there. The heat risks over the course of this, we haven't used this scale much, but you get up to the 3 and the 4 range, and that's when it starts to get pretty serious here. Notice the 4, rare and long-lasting extreme heat with little to no overnight relief. And you can see the heat risk for Friday. It's up here in the major range. Got to pay attention. We look at Saturday, and that's starting to see some purple, the extreme. And it just kind of builds on itself Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday as well, as we are looking at a long stretch of some heat here that likely has some big-time impacts on people's health if you're out in it for long periods of time. So that's what we'll have to watch over the course of this stretch. Look at the heat index values. Easily 110 to 115. Now, these are the peak heat index values. I'm hoping they don't stay there the entire time, but I think 100 to 115, I'm not sure why I sat down.
I don't know.
100 to 115 looks like that's what it's going to be most of the afternoon.
When I see that extreme danger, it makes my head hurt. So it hasn't really even started, and I'm already going to ask you, when will it be over?
It looks like a front dropping in on Monday is going to try to suppress it a little bit, but that'll also fire off storms. So that's why we have Monday as a First Alert 6 weather day too. The storm chance that goes with it. You're hoping, okay, maybe at night it'll cool off a little bit and get a little relief. Well, with the wind the way it's supposed to be out of the south, that only cools us down to near 80 degrees. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll get a 78 or 79 in there somewhere, but still right around 80 for those overnight lows. Well above average there, and doesn't offer little relief, very much relief overnight either. So starting Friday afternoon, Then notice, doesn't cool down there. Back up Saturday. Doesn't cool down there. Back up Sunday. And I think it's going to take this front dropping in on Monday that tries to bring some storms with it from the north and cut into the heat. Earlier arriving front means we can probably back off on that 97 a little bit. So the timing matters and how much energy we can build up for storms as well. And then more chances into next week and hopefully some cooler weather to go along with it. But overall, a big time heat. I haven't had anything this hot, obviously, this season, so hope everybody's prepared and planning for it this weekend.
Especially with the back-to-back days. All right.
You got it.
All right, remember that breaking news we shared with you at the top of the show? Well, that is affecting traffic right now as we speak.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, it was 52nd and Center. We had an overnight crash. Now, the crash isn't there, but it took out some power poles, so we are looking at some traffic signal issues, and that's causing all sorts of delays as you're going along Center. You're going to notice the yellows and oranges lighting up as you're approaching that intersection. So be ready for delays. You're heading into that area, and treat that as an always stop. Have some patience. Sometimes people get into these situations and are like, wait, am I supposed to go? Or yeah, you want to make sure that you're just kind of on top of things as you're heading into this intersection and be ready for those delays. You could always use another street too if you want to try to avoid that early this morning. Leavenworth is a possibility that you could use. This crash has cleared at this point. Galvin and Harville, we've been tracking this one, just got that vehicle towed out of there, and we have opened everything up there, and you can see that's reflected in how things are moving through that area. Good news for anyone in Bellevue who's about to head into that area. Now, we do still have our I-80 issues. You're heading westbound. This doesn't look as bad as it did just about 10 minutes ago, but it's still pretty slow as you're heading westbound. Eastbound holding up okay so far. This will probably, as we always talk about, start slowing down as we go through the next 20 to 30 minutes. But those are kind of our biggest delays. As you can see, the center one that's showing up that little orange speck there. A little slow right near the JFK and L interchange, but nothing major that's showing up there at this point. I'll continue to keep an eye on that traffic light situation first, Larry, when that does get back up and running normally once again, but otherwise pretty smooth elsewhere. All
right, we like that.
Yes.
Jared, thank you. Well, ICE and FBI agents swarm a Bellevue apartment complex. Multiple agencies blocked off the area near 25th and Chandler. Police at the apartment say officers ran into the building looking for someone, while a man eventually ran out. After about an hour of searching, authorities confirmed a suspect was taken into custody. We're not sure who the suspect is or why he or she was being arrested. The operation came as ICE provided us with even more details on the 76 people who were arrested last week at Glen Valley Foods. So they're accused of using stolen Social Security numbers. ICE says more than 100 identity theft victims are tied to employees at the plant. One story included a victim in California who has worked there for nearly 15 years, worked for 15 years to restore their identity. The Omaha police chief is ordering an investigation after a man dies while in custody. Authorities say 54-year-old Edward Henry was found unresponsive in his cell. He later died at the hospital. Henry was in custody for less than 8 hours. OPD says Henry's arrest was captured on multiple body-worn cameras. Following state law, Henry's death will be reviewed by a grand jury. All right, here with Maria Kate at the safety desk this morning. We talk about this all the time. We talk about screen time, but it can also affect kids' mental health. We don't talk about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It can have a really big impact. There's a new study that came out from the Journal of the American Medical Association. They're finding that nearly half of American kids are on track to become addicted to their cell phones just because of how much time they're spending on them. Now, more than 40% of them were likely to have that same exact problem with video games, too. Researchers say kids who spend too much time on social media and their phones are 2 times more likely to develop mental health issues compared to kids who have less screen time. Now, girls were found to be at a higher risk of social media addiction, while the boys trended more towards being addicted to video games.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah, my brothers.
Constantly. Take a break. Yeah. All right. While we're talking about children and safety, we have to address the heat.
I know, it's coming up here.
It's coming up.
got to try and do everything you can to make sure your kids stay safe. As those temperatures rise, so does the risk of getting really, really sick from being out in that really, really hot sun. So if they are outside for under an hour, you want to make sure, of course, they're drinking plenty of water. But if they're staying out for more than that, you can also give them a sports drink to supplement that water as well. Now, if your child is an athlete, experts say to get them outside in the heat before their outdoor practice or game to actually allow their body to get used to the heat before they go out and maybe play a game and get all sweaty and everything. You also want to be mindful of the equipment and the clothing that they're wearing too.
Not overdressing, light layers, light colors, things like that will be helpful.
Say taking breaks from the heat, of course, that's very, very important. They recommend getting out of the sun during those breaks. If you can, get inside, get into some air conditioning. If not, though, try and find a shady area, maybe some trees, or if you have a little tent with you at your baseball tournament.
This is important because there's a big tournament going on right now, and there's double headers all weekend long.
A lot of people are going to be there.
Parents take some advice too, right? Maria, thank you. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. So we're turning up the heat today. 70s yesterday and crank it up a little bit. But it's actually going to be a nice full day.
Yeah, today probably the best. It's going to get dangerously hot over the week. Like pools, the concrete could get hot. It won't take long to overheat as we head into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You're going to be trying to find ways to stay cool. So of the days, I think it's much more manageable today than every day is going to look like this weekend where we get up near 100 degrees and it's going to be a little windy as well. So pool day today, just don't forget the sunscreen. UV index likely to be high all the way through the weekend. This is the most comfortable air we have in the forecast that's out there right now. 50s and 60s. Wider view shows we're almost done with the 50s, a lot of upper 50s. We're going to be warming out of those very quickly. And then it all turns to the first alert weather days we have for Friday through Monday. So windy with highs near 100 degrees. That is easily how Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are looking. Each afternoon, 100 to 115 with the heat index value all afternoon. Monday still looks like that's going to be the case, but there's a front moving in, brings some severe weather potential into the afternoon and evening hours that we'll talk more about here in a bit. Today, we're going to warm up into the low 90s. We've been there several times so far this year, so nothing too far outside the norm here. Upper 80s on the Iowa side, lower 90s on the Nebraska side. By 7 o'clock, we're starting to cool down. Still pretty quiet this evening. Pay attention to this storm potential up here to the north. A little after midnight. Not much on models, but this is the most aggressive where we could have some storms floating through in our northeastern counties that maybe hang out in Iowa a little bit to start Friday and move east. Yeah, there could be some stronger storms in there, so watch for that. But they're east and moving east to start off the day on Friday, and unfortunately, that really doesn't help get in the way of any of this warmth. So notice by noon tomorrow, we're probably already into the lower 90s and making a run at 100 degrees. Usually, got to get to about 92, 93 around lunch on days like this to get to 100. And I think we're going to do that tomorrow with the wind. Here's your heat index forecast for tomorrow. That gets up 105 plus pretty easily. Trying to figure out the high end range. It's going to vary a little bit. Probably a little muggier on the Iowa side than on the Nebraska side during this entire stretch of heat that we have on the way this weekend. But don't forget about the wind. It'll gust out of the south-southwest easily 30 to 40 miles per hour tomorrow. Could have some gusts to 45. That wouldn't surprise me, and it persists into the overnight. Look at this for Friday. You can see some gusts up over 40 into the afternoon. Saturday, same story. Gusts over 40. Sunday, same story. Into the afternoon, gusts over 40 miles per hour. And then it relaxes a little bit on Monday, but still a breeze and likely going to be 25 to 30 miles per hour with those wind gusts. There's the muggy meter over this stretch, right up there, low end of the steamy range all the way through the weekend. And then maybe a little relief Monday before it starts to go right back up. So 100, 102, 197. If you can tell the difference between each day, good on you.
Okay.
But it's not going to vary an awful lot. Unrelenting heat that kind of builds on itself. You can see those overnight lows really don't change much either.
The only day that looks different is that Monday, because we see some storms there. How bad will those storms be? Do we know yet?
Well, we're going to build in all this heat and humidity, so that is a very much in play for some severe potential Monday. The timing is the thing. The later the storms, the more energy I think they can build and the stronger they'll be. Some models suggest we build these in during the afternoon, maybe by 2, 3 o'clock, and that could cut into this 97 a little bit, which I don't think would hurt anybody's feelings by then. And then they drop southeast. The problem is I don't think they're going to be too quick to move out, and they may actually hold somewhat steady and possibly even lift north overnight, as the front moving in could stall out a little bit, and then that gives us more chances of storms for Tuesday and maybe even into Wednesday. So while we have the heat this weekend, the pattern next week looks busier with storms and kind of a stalled out front that may be our spark for multiple rounds of storms. So if you've been wanting rain, that may be your week next week. Unfortunately, it could come with a fair amount of severe weather.
All right. Our lawns need the rain.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk about the traffic. Fog is out there. Could be a problem for some folks.
Yeah, it's been thick in some areas here as we've gone through the last couple of hours. Now we're starting to see some improvement as we're getting more of that sunshine in place, but you are going to notice when you look at this quad rocks view and look in the bottom left there, that is as you're near the Mormon Bridge, you can see in some of those lower lying areas there's still some lingering fog that is showing up, and it's a problem when you're getting outside of the metro especially. So here's what it looks like with the visibility in the metro. You've got some fog, and you may run into a couple of pockets where that visibility is a little lower here for the next hour or so. But as you zoom out, you can see Red Oak, that's starting to improve some, but there's still some limited visibility there. You've got some of that across some of the areas north of the metro as well. So keep an eye out for that as you're heading out in the next half hour to hour is when you're really going to be noticing some of those pockets of fog being an effect on you. You're still looking at some delays as you're heading near 52nd and Center with that traffic light issue. Treat that as an all-way stop early this morning. You can see some delays there on eastbound I-80, westbound I-80 as you're entering that construction zone near Giles. So those are the slowest areas in the metro right now. A lot of the rest of the metro is moving pretty well, Cerise.
All right, we'll take it. Jared, thank you. Well, happening today, it is Juneteenth. The holiday commemorates the end of slavery in the U.S. Juneteenth started as an informal celebration by the people of Galveston, Texas, but eventually spread to other parts of the country. Many communities celebrate with parties, parades, and other gatherings. Juneteenth became a national holiday in 2021. So happy Juneteenth, everybody. We'll talk College World Series when we come back and how the new video that's taking the internet by storm when we come back. Can you guys hear? All right, in our College World Series coverage this morning, the greatest show on dirt is now down to the final 2 teams. Did you guys watch? Did everybody stay up and watch?
I chose sleep.
All right, we were all asleep. But LSU, Coastal Carolina, punched their tickets to the CWS Finals this weekend. So game 1 between the Chanticleers and the Tigers is set for Saturday night at 6.
I watched the afternoon game. Coastal put up 6 quick runs. And then
I did too. But we have to show you this video before we go. Following LSU's walk-off win over Arkansas, look what they did. Tiger fans hauled Mardi Gras Mike around downtown Omaha last night while blasting, I don't know if you can hear it, Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. But oh my gosh.
Perfect choice.
Mardi Gras Mike roaming down the streets of Omaha. I love that.
Well, I mean, what did I say last week when I was there outside Mardi Gras Mike? I think that is the viral moment of 2025 College World Series.
And you also said he lit up. We wish he lights up and he roars. We didn't get to hear him roar.
I know. It's so cool. I mean, it's a real Mardi Gras parade float.
Yeah.
So if they win, maybe they'll take it around downtown roaring.
Maybe.
Championship parade for sure.
That's so cool.
Wild.
All right, we got to get ready for our update in the Today Show. You can watch it here or over the streaming. Have a great day, everybody.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
Good Thursday morning, everybody. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole. We want to get right to First Alert 6 traffic with Jared.
And this is a lingering impact from an overnight crash at 52nd and Center. That crash is gone, but it did cause damage to power poles, and you're looking at the traffic signals being completely out at that intersection as a result. So you need to treat that as an all-way stop as you head into that area, and expect delays. Those go back to about 50th early this morning. Otherwise, a lot of our delays are tied to that I-80 zone. Not too bad now as you're heading westbound. As you're going eastbound, though, you get right near Giles, you're seeing things slow down quite a bit. Also a little slow as you're heading on Highway 370 and you're approaching I-80 early this morning. A lot of other metro roads moving along pretty well. Rusty.
Thanks, Jarrett. As we're out and about this morning, these are going to be some of the coolest temperatures we have in the area. 50s and 60s right now as we start off the day. And it's going to be a long time before we're anywhere near this cool. Thankfully, not incredibly humid today. Muggy meter on the low end of the muggy range most of the day. Starts to uptick a little bit tonight, but by then the temperature starts to cool off, so that's some good news. And temperatures will climb a fair amount today, up into the low 90s. We've been there several times so far this year. Sunshine and 92 for that afternoon high. Then tomorrow, small chance of a storm early in the day. We'll go 100 on Friday, 102 on Saturday, 100 on Sunday, 97 on Monday. 4 First Alert 6 weather days in a row because of the heat. And then Monday, we also throw in that storm chance with it as well. Cerise?
Rusty, thank you. Breaking news this morning. No injuries after a rollover crash. This happened on 52nd and Center Streets just before midnight. Police say the driver hit a curb, causing the car to flip over and snap nearby power poles. OPD says they don't believe alcohol played a factor in the crash, but as Jarrett just mentioned, there's traffic lights still out at that intersection. It is 7:28. We are back with another update for you in about 25 minutes. We'll see you then.